Hello and welcome to the video. This is a quick overview and review of this little model here. This is the DE65 Pro from Eachine. Now I've looked at quite a few whoops and actually have a sub 250 gram playlist that you can go and look at all the models that fall under that weight limit and are kind of in this same category. But this one's a little bit more interesting than some of the others I've looked at recently in that everything you need, with the exception of your radio, comes in the box. So while I unbox it, let me go through the specs. Now let me apologise for the noise in the background. My 3D printer, it was running away. It's a job that's taken a very long time. But here you can see that the box is a little bit bigger than you would normally see. Now taped to the outside of mine is the adapter for the mains supply for the charger that's in here. The mains charger, the battery power supply, is probably the weakest part of this kit. So this is the US65 Pro, wheelbase of 65mm, I guess what that name comes from. Weight's about 24 grams without the battery. All-in-one, 4-in-1 Crazy Bee flight controller, Cadix Ant camera, ET 2.0 plugs on the battery, so you can see them on the charger that you get here. The power input, you've got battery input and USB output as well, and then you have all of the pieces in here. Now as I said, this is probably the part that I'm the least impressed with, just because the pins actually on this AC/DC adapter are actually bent inwards. Now it's a 12 volt output, pretty standard polarity. The negative is on the outside of the connector, so I ended up using a power supply for my PC to run it. Now this is the batteries that you get with them. You get 4 batteries in here. They're all high voltage 250 milliamp hours. Again, you can see here that there is the ET 2.0 plugs at the end, so be aware of that. In the top then we have a spare set of props. We have the little adapter and the prop remover. We have the menu board for the Cadix, and we have a little manual that kind of goes through the setup. Now there's a couple of receiver options for this. There's the internal SPI receiver for D8, D16, or AFHDS or AFHDS2A. External FrSky receiver, which is the one that I've got here, which I prefer. I'm not a fan of the SPI versions, or you could have it with an external TBS Crossfire Nano receiver if you really wanted. Motors are NX0802 14,000 kV units. The onboard ESC is 5 amp continuous, 6 amp for 3 seconds. The onboard VTX sadly is only 25 milliwatts maximum, so this is really for quite close in flying, or perfect for those places where it's illegal to go higher, but it does support race band and is configurable by smart audio. The camera is a Cadix Ant, 1200 TVL lines, NTSC or PAL, 169 or 43, and you can change all the settings because they do provide the little joystick as well. So while I plug the batteries in and let them start charging, the multi-port charger is quite a cute thing. It seems to work all right, with the exception of the power supply that's supplied with it. Personally, I don't like the quality of it. I would definitely use something else if you have that handy in the house. So let me plug it into Betaflight. Let's have a look at how it's actually set up. So again, I'm going to dump and diff the settings in here. So here we are connected. Everything is moving. That's great. Put it into expert mode. Go through each of these. Ports are set like this. So just VTX TBS Smart Audio for the little onboard VTX. Configuration looks... Oh, hang on a minute. Betaflight 357. Okay, quite an old version of Betaflight on here. Motor direction is reversed. Be aware of that if you ever need to replace the props. D-Shot, 8K gyro and PID loop frequency, but even though it's an F4 based flight controller, it's handling it okay, because this is an old version of Betaflight. S-Bus input, all the standard stuff really turned on. Including the receiver stuff. Battery and power looks like this. Failsafe is set to drop. PID tuning, I'll just very quickly go through these. Again, the difference and also the dump files are available in the link in the description if you want to look at it completely. Receiver looks like that. Again, with different receivers. Modes are set up in a really nice way. It's how I pretty much have it. So you only really have angle turned on, an arming switch, and flip over after crash. I definitely make that also turn your buzzer on. I definitely come in here and play with the on-screen display. The layout's very meh. And then let me just see the version. Yeah, it is. It's a very old version, but it actually flies quite well. It's interesting that so many of the manufacturers aren't using the later versions of Betaflight, and lots of pilots haven't bothered to do that for smaller models like this. The really nice thing is that the receiver is actually powered from the USB, so as you plug that in, the receiver is powered. That makes it a piece of cake to bind to your radio. It is the international version of the firmware that's come on the external real FreeSky receiver here, so be aware of that if you have an EU radio. So taking it out for a flight, just to give you an idea of what it's like zooming around, this is a very, very nice 2S whoop. It isn't particularly powerful, even though you need 2 batteries plugged in to get the 2S power that it needs to fly around. It's hovering at about minus 14%, so just under half throttle on an OpenTX radio, but there's enough to get in and out of trouble. This is capable of flying outside on calm days. This is really designed to be kind of an indoor flyer and zooming around inside the house, particularly with that limited 25 milliwatt VTX. I do like the fact there's lots of spares availability. That's nice to see. These things tend to get quite beat up. If you are in an area where at the moment you're in lockdown or you're looking for a model to have a play with over winter, this would actually be quite a cute way to do it. The way you get the batteries, the charger. Again, everything's in the box apart from the radio. The other thing I'd say is just use another power adapter for the charger. Setup in Betaflight is really good, tons of fun to fly, and I really love the fact that they're offering a real FreeSky receiver as an option rather than those horrid SPI things that are standard on so many other models. A couple of things to be careful of with this. The battery support is flimsy to keep the 2S batteries in place. I'd use a piece of tape or something just to kind of stick them together once they're on. Again, not masses of power on 2S. I've had other models in here that have this kind of performance on a 1S battery. And I'm not sure why there's only a German and US colour scheme on the website. Who knows? There may be other versions in future. Be careful of those ET 2.0 battery connectors. It means that if you have lots of other batteries for other whoops, they will probably not work with this. And it is an old version of Betaflight, but I mentioned that as part of the setup. Now, this is one of those things that I personally won't fly a lot, so this is going to be a giveaway. If you're interested in getting your name put in for the prize draw, then as usual, like, comment and subscribe, and then I will pull the names out of a hat. I'll use one of the random comment pickers in a week or two, and this can get sent to a new home. This is one of the nicer little quads that I've had from Eachine. It does everything that you'd want it to, and I like the fact that the availability of spares is there, and also you pretty much get everything in the box that you're going to need to get flying. And they've managed to do that for quite a low price, so you don't have to break the bank if you want to try this out. But again, if you want to put your name in the hat for this one, then do pop a comment down below, like, subscribe, and keep an eye on the channel for the draw in a couple of weeks. Thank you for watching my video and watching right to the very end. If you want to find out what I'm currently working on, you can follow me on social media by searching for Painless360 in the usual places. If you'd like to become part of the inner circle, then you can become a Patreon. Details are in the description and you get lots of additional benefits. Check out the playlist section on the channel too. I organise all of my videos into playlists, and it's called something like Introduction to or for Beginners. All of the content is aimed so that you can start at the very beginning, and it teaches you that subject, starting with simple principles and moving up to teach you everything you need to know.